Oh, things are about to get strange.
Hey guys, how you doing? My name's Tom, and I've been living overseas for over 22 years. First in Mongolia, and now in Japan for quite a long time. And I'm currently transitioning into becoming a full-time digital nomad. And since I've always been interested in sci-fi and futurism, I'm really trying to find my niche using AI. So, Gen X and the 21st century. There's really kind of been a bit of a resurgence recently with interest in Gen X, mostly from Gen Z looking to pick a fight. And since the millennials already have the boomer market cornered, I guess it's on us, right? So I kind of thought this would be a good opportunity to share a few of my thoughts about my generation and our future. So let's get into it. Growing up Gen X and part of the whatever generation, I think, like most of us, I didn't think there was anything particularly special about our generation. As a kid in the 80s, I didn't like the music. I thought the fashion was pretty silly. And then since I grew up around my boomer aunts and uncles, they kind of raised me on a healthy diet of the sex, drugs, and rock and roll lifestyle. Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, you know what I mean. And then in the 90s in college, after communism, but before terrorism, we kind of lived in this little golden bubble of comfort and complacency and kind of blissful ignorance. But as time goes on and we're starting to see technologies like AI, CRISPR, VR, and nanotechnology change our lives in real time, not in decades, but like year to year, or these days even month to month. I'm beginning to see a picture of kind of a special place that Gen X has in society, and maybe even in history. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. This is a quote from the famous sci-fi writer and futurist Arthur C. Clarke. He also wrote 2001: A Space Odyssey. Awesome movie, by the way. Another famous futurist with an 86% accuracy rate for his predictions is Ray Kurzweil. Ray predicted in 1990 that a computer would be able to beat the world chess champion by 1998. Well, in 1997, IBM's Deep Blue beat the world chess champion. Point being, he's pretty damn accurate. So, probably his most famous prediction for the 21st century is, we will have by 2029 AGI, which stands for Artificial General Intelligence, which would be an AI as equally as smart as a human. Think like Johnny Five.
I feel alive!
And 16 years later, in 2045, ASI, which stands for Artificial Superintelligence, which is also called the Singularity. This is a godlike AI, which pessimists fear is going to squash us like bugs. Think Skynet. Or The Matrix.
Human beings are a disease.
Optimists put a more positive spin on it, saying that AI will be benevolent and will be our last thing we ever invent, as AI will be able to literally do everything after that. So what the hell does this have to do with Gen X? I can already hear you saying. I think what really makes us unique is we are the last analog generation before all the following generations never knew the before times. I mean, we joke about how rough we had it, from drinking from hoses and being kicked out of the house until nighttime. But what I think is truly profound is when the boomers are gone, we will be the last generation that will have known a life before worldwide instantaneous communication, or things like having every bit of information at your fingertips instantaneously. On the flip side, the fact that the oldest Gen Xers are only pushing 60 and the youngest among us are in our mid-40s means that when AGI emerges, artificial general intelligence, we'll only be in our 50s and 60s. And when ASI begins, we'll be in our mid-60s to early 80s. So what does all this mean? It means when we're old, we're going to see some shit. Here's another way of thinking about it. I was born in 1976, but imagine I was born in 1876 on a rural farm. And then I lived a full life to the ripe old age of 93. From that pastoral existence that had been around for thousands of years, I would have then seen indoor plumbing, electricity, horses replaced by cars, humans fly, 2 world wars that culminated in the atomic bombs that ushered in the atomic age, and finally in my last year of life, man walks on the moon. Me, as a kid in the 1880s, trying to conceive of walking on the moon, it would have been nothing short of magic. Even in that scenario, at my age now, 48, it would only be 1924. No Second World War yet, no atomic age, no missiles or rockets, no Cold War, and definitely no man on the moon. Quick side note, the author Jules Verne wrote From Earth to the Moon in 1865, so I guess for one very clever futurist, he could conceive of walking on the moon at the time, but for the other 99.9% of humanity, I doubt it. Just in the last 10-15 years, we've seen huge changes in society from technology, from how we date with apps, or how we work remotely anywhere around the world, to how we interact with emojis and messengers and YouTube. Or from silly stuff like how we get famous or what celebrity means, like the Kardashians or the Hawk 2 girl, or how societies get seriously changed through revolutions like Arab Spring. And the wild part is, I don't think we've seen anything yet. You know, through emerging technologies, our generation, when we're in our 60s and 70s, through AI, gene editing, and nanotechnology, these things could give us the opportunity to be the first generation to possibly live to 100 with some regularity, with some people living to 110 or possibly even 120. So, what is the point of this whole video? Well, I, for one, for all of our youthful pessimism, think that we're really lucky as a generation. Getting to be from our humble hose-drinking beginnings all the way to being a bunch of grunge listening to centenarians that have seen everything from like disco and rotary phones all the way to AI godlike magic. I don't know. I think that's pretty amazing. So before we finish, I want to give you one final example that I think speaks to how our generation kind of fits into the big picture. Are you familiar with raw dogging on planes? Yeah, if you're not, it's not what you think it means. It just means no media on a plane. So no Facebook, no Instagram, not even music or movies, just sitting there staring at the seat ahead of you for the entire flight. Well, millennials and Gen Z have been bragging about this like they've reinvented the wheel, right? And as most of you older folks know, when we were kids, we spent plenty of time staring at things with absolutely nothing to do. So really, nothing new under the sun here. All of this kind of leads me to believe that our pre-digital voices are going to be very important as the younger generations are completely cocooned in technology from birth to death. And I'd argue the necessity of our voice in preserving authentic human experience before technology kind of took over our lives completely. So, what's the moral of the story? You Gen Xers, you boomers, start your YouTube, start your TikTok, and make those drinking from the hose jokes, because in every joke, there is a bit of truth. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Thank you guys, and I hope to see you in the next one. Later. If you liked the video, I'm sure you know what to do down below. If you're interested in learning more about AI and futurism, I also left links to Arthur C. Clarke, Ray Kurzweil, and Jules Verne down below, as well as information on the AI that I used to make the intro and the outro. You can also follow me on X. Links below.